a bit.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID, Tottenham Till I Die. I guess in conjunction with El Tel Cockerel. We have a stellar panel for you tonight. Three of the founders and owners of the channel, but three very special guests. I don't know if Kevin's there or not. But first of all, let me introduce Dejan Spur. His debut on the show. Good evening, Deji.
Good evening. Tottenham Till I Die. Fitting name. Should have invited me to be one of the co-founders, to be honest with you, because that is how I live my life. When the intro went on and it was the Spurs co marching in, I was just thinking back on last season, thinking about Postecoglou, thinking about the season ahead. I don't know about you, but I find international football absolutely drab. It's utter boring, and I'm just glad to be returning back to some normality. So thank you for having me. I've hardly streamed, but it's a pleasure to be on there tonight.
Deji, I must warn you that the joining fee to be a founder of this channel is £10,000 and rising. My bank account details are...
No worries.
Someone who will need no introduction to you, Jose.
Jose. Good evening, everyone. Unlike Deji, I'm with Deji on supporting Tottenham and being a diehard and that. But unlike Deji, international football runs in my blood, especially when you keep winning.
Yeah. Yes. Not the salt in the wound, Jose.
Well, it's half time in the Euro Championships under-19s final, and Spain are 1-0 up against France. So, I don't know, here we go again.
So it's international football 1. We fucking hate it 1. And we'll carry it. I hope my grandson's not on. Kev, are you there? Earth to Kev, are you there?
Well, I am. If you can hear me, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I don't know what's gone wrong with my tech.
That will be a blessing.
I don't know what's gone wrong with my tech, but you wouldn't want to see me anyway. Yes. Well, international football. Well, Jose, me and Jose, we know each other from work, strangely enough. But I don't mind it. But I do prefer it when it's when we're back on the Premier League.
Yeah, and one of the reasons for getting Jose and Kev on, I've only known Jose a little while, obviously through these channels, but I was at primary school, played in the same primary school, Eversley football school football team in Winchmore Hill in school class of 71, which is aging us both. So I thought it'd be great to get Kevin and Jose on at the same time. And if you're watching this and you were watching the show a few weeks ago, Kev is zookeeper Tom's dad. So we're keeping it in the family. Queen Ellie Hoiberg, we're going to have to give you a new name soon.
I know. I'll have to be moving to Marseille very soon. I've got my ticket booked. I've got my Hoiberg shirt, and I've got the number 5 on the back, 5 alive. But you know what? I wish him luck, but I have to move on. Like all great Spurs fans, as in the panel now.
Yeah,
we have to be Tottenham till I die. I'm not Hoiberg till I die. I'm Tottenham till I die.
That's good. Whoever you want to be, Ellie, you're always welcome. You know that.
Thank you.
And our founder, Adrian himself. Good evening, Adrian.
Good evening to you all. Glad to have such exalted company. I'm with Deji on this. I can't stand international football, but don't get me wrong. I'm a proud, patriotic British person. I'm the most enthusiastic Spurs fan you'll ever meet in the age group, which is a dinosaur-itis age group that I am, right? So, I love everything about Spurs. I hate the international breaks, the competitions, but I will still support England, obviously. But it just messes with my Spurs life.
Yeah.
As is tonight, we have quite a lot to get through, I think, and breaking news as we go that Milan have just increased, or was being reported that they've increased their offer for Emerson Royal. So we will come to that. But I think the first thing we're going to do tonight is talk about.
Sorry, Ian. Yes. Can just before you do it, can you go down to Ash P's comment? She's back.
Yes, come on, Ashley.
Go further down. Go further down.
Another woman to bounce off. Yes.
It's about five below that. Ash, thank you for becoming a member, but it's about 5 below that.
Come on, Ashley. She's my spark. She's my spark.
Below that, Ash, new member. Drula, evening,
Drula.
There
she is. She's got internet. So she's back.
Hey.
Ash, she's back. She's back. Oh.
This is. There is Mumbai has a population of about 30 million, and she is absolutely the best of a lot of them. So, absolutely welcome, Ash. Great to have you, and we'll have you on a show soon as well. More to the point,
I call her beauty and brains.
Yeah, it's a fatal combination. I must be honest, isn't it? Yeah.
She's a mod, by the way, for those that don't know.
A lot of us put together, alas, but there you go.
I think Ellie, you'll be in touch with her, won't you, now, to get some shows done?
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully Chang will do some shows with her. Ash is a mod. She's one of our mods as well, but she's been doing things out in rural India at the moment for the Indian education system. So fair play to her for that.
But nice to have you back. Nice to have you back, Ash P.
Before we talk about the match and the football and the team yesterday, who on earth had the hairs on the back of their neck with the "Come on, you Spurs"? And when the Spurs go marching on from the Japanese fans yesterday, Deji, did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it, and that's what I love to see. That's why I always start my shows with big up Spurs fans near and far, and to see that we are gathering momentum all over the world, it was a pleasure to see. And that's what I'm saying. Every time I listen to that, I'm so proud and so happy. And we have to say we are proud of our fans across the world, and maybe see more of it, in my opinion. So it's lovely to see.
Kev, did you manage to catch the game? Over to Kevin. Let's bring in Jose. Jose, did you manage to get the game?
I most certainly did. I did a watch along.
Yeah, of course you did. Yeah, but with a watch along, you got to be quiet sometimes. Did you manage to hear the noise of the crowd? It was like playing at home.
Yeah, well, it would be, because it's Tottenham, isn't it? So it would be like playing at home. They were. I mean, yeah, I've seen the videos on Twitter with regards before the game, after the game. I watched the day before on the open training. How many people turned up to the stadium, and they were already singing songs in the stadium, and that was at the pre-training the day before. So yeah, I've seen it all.
as well. I tell you, I'm thinking about that song. You know, was it Alphaville? Are you big in Japan? I won't sing anymore because my singing voice is awful. But you remember that song? So yeah, Ellie. Oh,
Yes.
Ellie, did you see the game? Did you hear the noise?
I did see some of the game because I was watching Jose for a little bit, but I wasn't commenting because I get really busy with my family, right? And they're very demanding, more demanding than Tottenham Hotspur at times. But I have to split my loyalties between my family and Spurs, right? So today I was at the Greek church, and then Adrian phones me up, and I'm on my way to the Greek church, and he goes, "Did you see the Japanese fans? What welcome they gave us, right?" Or the Korean fans, sorry. And I thought, yeah, do you know what? We're well loved all around the world, right? And big up to all those fans who are supporting us in far lands everywhere. And I take my hat off to them because they're so passionate. And it's nice to see some positivity about our club. All right, we haven't won a lot in the last 24 years, but we've still had some fantastic matches. We've had some fantastic players, and we should have won more. We should have. But obviously, there's two teams that can win it, right? And if you don't win it, the other team's going to win it. So what we've got to do is just big up all these fans who are supporting us regardless, right? And they're coming on board in their droves. So I'm really happy about that. And I just love it. I think our club is a special club. We've got a lot for us.
Mark doing a great job putting up the links to our guest channel. So
big up,
Mark.
Mark.
Good evening. That's really important. We all support each other. Adrian, it maybe shows the value of going to places like Japan and South Korea and whatever when you see the number of Spurs supporters out there.
Yeah, it was a fantastic stadium atmosphere. I watched all the game, obviously, because I was taking notes and as usual, you know, for the run sheets. And yeah, I mean, the Japanese fan were on board with all the songs, weren't they? I'm sure you'll come to the lineup in a minute. I just wanted to add that, there was short videos posted about the Spurs fans' arrival in Korea. They got a fantastic welcome there as well. Yeah. And then there's also another lovely short of Radu Dragusin turning up, because I'm sure he's going to get game time when we play Team K All-Stars in Seoul, yeah? So back to you, Ian, for the lineup and whatever, you know?
Yeah, I've just put the lineup up, but there's only 10 players, so that means very good, Ian. You've left one out. So
hello, Kev.
Oh,
that's better.
Oh, you can see me. I'm on my phone though. That's a problem.
That's all right. That's all right. Actually, I've done shows on my phone. As long as it's charged, it actually works really well. Phone works.
We've
well.
met Kev, haven't we?
So it's fine. Kev, did you get the game yesterday?
Yeah, I saw it yesterday. Most of it, anyway, here and there. Kept being disturbed a little bit by my granddaughter, but yeah, it was good fun watching it. And yes, I heard all the noise as well, and seeing those videos. But yeah, hearing them chanting. I mean, my one view was that when they started singing the songs, it was almost better than the South Stand sings at the moment, because it tends to peter out when the Spurs in the South Stand. But they carried it on. It was good.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that starting lineup. Let me go back to that. I've left somebody out. And
Johnson.
I'm really sorry about
Johnson.
I've left. Yeah. Thank you. I don't know if I can edit that and add that. Yeah. All right. I'll leave it. Yeah. For those of you watching, yeah, I left Johnson out. Jose, talk to me then about what you thought that when you saw that starting lineup. Is that getting close to what we might see at Leicester on the 19th of August?
I hope not. when I saw the starting lineup, I was a bit disappointed. I wanted to see Ash Phillips get a start. I wanted to see Bergvall get a start, because I wanted to see what Ash Phillips and Bergvall in and amongst with the senior players, rather than coming on as a second half like they had done for the first two games. So I wanted to see them two start if possible, and maybe a real. They're the two that I wanted to start, but a real push. I wanted to see whether one of our forwards would have started as well. It could have been any of the three of them, but just to see if one of them started. But anyway, they didn't start. They came on in the second half, and yeah, the rest is history because the game's already finished now. But yeah, if you're asking me that question, they're the two people that I wanted to see in the lineup.
Okay, Kev, your own thoughts?
I thought, it was straight. I think it was what really impressed me was the way Gray changed position, and I think that's what they've been working towards. I mean, I know we have a Højbjerg fan here, but I think they've been working towards him being the replacement for Højbjerg there, and starting him off in defence and then moving him up into the midfield as a sort of the screen in front of the back four in the midfield. I think showed where he might be going in this one, but overall, I think I agree. It was a bit of a shame that perhaps the youngsters only got sort of half an hour or so at the end, but it's one of those matches, wasn't it? And the humidity must have been horrendous out there as well, especially some of those who played a couple of days beforehand as well. So I think it was overall. I think it was very good.
Yeah. Bit of advice for you, Kev. Turn it sideways so it goes into full screen. I don't know whether that'll work for you or not. Turn your phone, that is. You should now. If you turn on your side, you'll go giddy. But anyway, you can try that or not. Deji, your own thoughts on that starting lineup?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was pretty strong actually. In my opinion, it was a very experienced starting lineup. I almost thought it was a bit too strong, to be honest with you. And what I mean by too strong is, that's pretty much the first team, barring Davis and Gray at the moment. So for me, it was quite interesting. It was fine. I just felt I wanted to see more of the youngsters start, to be honest with you. And the one thing that is slightly just a bit annoying for me was that I would rather see Emerson Royale. We're expecting for him to leave, so why is he starting? Was the question that I was thinking. And then we know that Gray is not going to be playing centre back for Spurs. So why is he playing centre back? That was the only two things I was just finding a bit strange. Like, surely
maybe your answer in the chat there, Deji. I think that's answered obviously before you started speaking. But I think that's probably a fair comment as I see it.
Yeah, no, fair play. I'm just looking. He is, but I was kind of hoping, and I listened to one of Gray's kind of interviews out there. He sees himself a bit more of a midfielder, to be honest with you. And I just think, all right, fine. Once Draguzin is back, Van der Ven is back, Romero's back, that doesn't happen. But why are we playing Emerson Royale? I agree. I want to see Phillips. I want to see the players that are going to be around. There is no point playing players pre-season who won't be here, because the whole point of pre-season is to build rhythm. And we're not building rhythm with Emerson Royale at right back. But anyway, that was my own fault. I thought it was a bit strong. It pretty much is as close as you're going to get to our first team based on last season. But I would have liked to have seen, I agree, Bergwijn or some of the other youngsters start.
Sure. I'm going to talk later about what we need, because some of these kids are doing so well. But Ellie, let's slightly move on. That first goal we conceded yesterday.
Yeah, it was a bit of a calamity. But do you know what? Sometimes you have to do things like that to make yourselves wake up. Because, I think Spurs, when we've been down before in last season, we've played better. We've woken up a bit, and it gives you a little shock, because you're not expecting it as well. Like, you're not expecting to make errors as bad as that. And do you know what? We've got to iron them out. We've got to see where we're going wrong. Sometimes it's not good to make errors, but sometimes it is good, because then you learn from them and you make sure you don't do it again. and iron out all the creases. Like when you're ironing your trousers, lads, that your missus has forgot to iron for you. You've got to iron out all the creases, because otherwise what happens, you get complacent and then you start making errors after error, and you don't learn from your mistakes. So I wasn't pleased about it, but these things happen in football. It's how you react as well, and I think we reacted very well. We picked ourselves up, brushed ourselves down, and got on with the job. And we got the victory, so that's the main thing. At the end of the day, I think some players will make more errors than others because they're not as astute in defence. And like Deji says, we're playing Emerson Royal. We're playing really. Archie Gray is not a centre back, is he? And I don't want to see him. I want to see Ash Phillips there, right? He's a proper unit of a centre back. When I saw him at QPR, because I made the trip down to that Tim Pot ground, my husband supports, right? And I think it's unfair for the lad, because he's waiting in the wings to prove himself, and he's not even getting first bite of the cherry. So it's probably denting his confidence a bit, I would imagine, because he's thinking Monero, Dragushin and Van der Ven are probably first choice. But if I'm going to make my mark at this club, I need my chances, and you do need game time to prove yourself. Yeah.
Do you think it? I'll bring in Adrian here. Do you think it maybe suggests that Ange doesn't fancy Phillips much?
Or that he thinks he's going out.
I've just seen. Evening, Kate, by the way, and to Jim.
I was surprised actually in the earlier pre-season games that Skip, who's played well, let's be fair, give the guy credit, and Gray were the centre-back pairing when in each of those games Ashley Phillips came on in the second half. The thing that I found interesting from the lineup, which is very telling in my opinion, that in both those games he started with a midfield pivot of Sarr and Basuma. And Basuma does seem, I'm glad he's got competition for his places, because he seems to have woken up a little bit. We've seen more of that. I know you'll talk about this in a minute. We've seen a bit more of what Suma is made of, right? So that was it. And I think he went strong, Deji. I mean, I can't read Angie's mind, obviously, but I think he went strong. These are the Japanese champions.
Yeah.
You wouldn't roll the kids in and be 3-0 down at half time. It wouldn't be a good look. I think he's gone strong. Respect for them. And, I mean, they did cause us a few problems on the break. But, I mean, apart from that with the lineup, I mean, we'll probably talk about positions and Kula and the false nine, whatever. But I'll stop there as it's on the lineup. They're the only two. I don't expect anything else. I'll go back to Ian.
I'll come on to the second half and the changes in a second. But Kev, that equaliser was a thing of beauty, wasn't it? Kenny here. I'll come back. Jose, that equaliser was a thing of beauty, was it not?
Yes.
Porro's goal.
The Porro equaliser. I thought the Porro equaliser was. It was a very, very good interlink play, but it all started off with Archie Gray, didn't it? Where Archie Gray carried the ball and then ended up losing it, or we ended up losing it. And from losing it, he then put the tackle in, won the ball back, and recycled it, which meant that we carried on the play, and it was 3 passes later the ball was in the back of the net, and Porro finished it really well, because Porro actually took it on his left foot, and he's gone, I think he might have gone through the player's legs, so I've gone through the player's legs around the player, where then the keeper couldn't see, and the keeper went one way type thing, and the ball's rolled round the other way. But yes, it was a very, very good goal, very composed finish as well. It's not just because it's Porro. It could be any player. It was a very composed finish, because it was about 8 or 9 yards out. So it was a very, very composed finish. So
and on his left foot, Deji.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, I think Pedro Porro could be getting some good goals this season. He's got the quality, he's got the technical ability. And I think, you know, he could be challenging. He could be our version to Trent on that right-hand side in terms of distribution. So it was good to see him getting forward and getting in that goal. And look, Pedro Porro's got it in his locker to get 8 goals this season. Do you know what I mean? I think he can. I think he's good enough. So, yeah, it was good to see.
Yeah. I'll ask you, I don't know if Kev's just disappeared again. I'll ask you and Kev this question, though. Because the other guys that have been on streams with me all know that I think if Spence can really make it and contribute, he's actually a very natural inverted fullback under Ange, and that would leave Porro free to play the right-sided attack role because he's clearly got a lot of goals in him. What do you think?
I've been a big fan of Jed Spence from day one. I think he was not given any opportunity. And when you watch his game, it's exactly what you want on that right-hand side. So the fact that he's getting a look in this time round, I'm happy for him. I never thought about pushing Porro forward, actually. But, yeah, it makes sense because Porro, for me, is not quite a defender. I think he's more effective going forward. The defending part of it is actually taken away from his game. But in terms of the right-hand side, I would prefer Porro ahead of Brennan Johnson, ahead of Kulusevski, ahead of all of our bloody options, to be honest with you, on that side. And as long as Jed Spence can do a job, then I think that is a very, very good shout. Yeah.
Well, I'm
Deji, would you have him ahead of Mikey Moore?
Decky as a central player in a minute. Kev, your thoughts on Porro?
I've always thought Porro's been great, especially going forward. And he works. I don't like Kulusevski on the right unless Porro is there with him, because that means we've got someone to go down the outside, and Kulusevski always cuts in. But Porro can go either way, can't he? He cuts in, he goes outside, and he strikes the ball so well when he and to take that and to score with his left foot on this occasion as well was another great one. He cut inside and hit it really well. But he's such a good striker of the ball. I agree that I think he's going to score quite a few goals this season. The way he's playing forward, I think he was a revelation last year. I think he's going to be even better.
Yeah, and he's another one that's still only young. Adrian, we'll move on from Porro because there is quite a lot I would like to get through if we can tonight. Decky is a central player, Adrian.
Well, I'm a big fan of Decky. People know that, and I know that the fan base is divided, like they are on every player. Which it's okay. I don't mind if people agree with my opinions on players or not. It's just all subjective. But Decky, to me, has got the complete. I think Porro as well. He's got the complete skill set, and it shows with his touch. Now, in the last 2 or 3 games, he's got 3 assists. It would have been 4 if that outside of the foot to Werner, if Werner didn't drag it because he's got a fear of the goal mouth wide, right? It probably would have been a 4th assist. And he's done it before when he's passed people through and they've missed, when he'd have a lot more assists to his name. And I just think his touch, when you looked at his touch in those 2 games when he's up the front there, Decky, playing as a false 9 or a 10 or whatever you want to call it nowadays, you think, well, can Richarlison do that? Is Richarlison's got that touch? No, he hasn't. Richarlison's very good in the air. He's fast. He is fast, Richarlison. But I just think Decky's very versatile. I don't think there's been talk recently, we'll go to Napoli and all this. And then they would talk, probably 20 mil and all this or, and everything else like that. I just think it's utter rubbish. I mean, if you got rid of a player like Decky, no one can deny as a good squad player to have, who will come on and help you hold and get through the last 15 minutes of the game if you're leading 1-0. You're not going to, if you sold Decky for 20 mil, especially at these European clubs, you're not going to replace a player like that for that amount of money. No. I think they're just BS stories, to be honest with you. No, I am a big fan. I think he's got a great skill set. I think you watched him. He's a big game player as well. He scored in his debut away to Man City when Sonny squared the ball to him. He got the goal against Man City in a 3-3. All right, it comes sort of off his shoulder. He is a big game player. He held the game up when we were winning 1-0 at Luton and Busuma was sent off. He held up play. He got man of the match for that. He got a few men. And what was a poor season for him? And even Ange said this. What was a poor season for him? He still scored 8 goals. What's he going to do? If we want him, we all want him to see his debut season form again. We want him to reproduce that. No, I'm a big fan. And with Porro, like I've been critical of him, so I've had to eat my words defensively. I see Porro more as a number 8 than I do with an inverted fullback behind him. I see him.
I see him as a number 7, but Ellie, let's get your view, and I'm going to put a comment of Kate's up. She just put another one up, but I'm just going to put that because Decky's, we can talk about Porro as well, but Decky's definitely become our Marmite player. You seem to love him or hate him. But that's Kate's comment, and I know you two often.
She's talking
see the
about
game in a
Deji, not
similar
Decky.
way.
Look.
I think Kate really means she don't rate Pedro Porro. She don't think he's good.
She said you had a good game yesterday, Deji. You played well yesterday, Deji.
Yeah, cheers, Kate. Thanks.
Okay. Well, let's call that Decky instead of Deji, and I think we'll get along better.
K instead of J. And in the Greek alphabet, there's no J, so I think Kate went Greek there. We forgive her. She's a lovely lady. I rate Decky, and Kate knows that because we always had little tit for tat about your Neto. And she loves Neto because she finds him a very exciting player to watch. But the thing is, he doesn't score as many goals as Decky, and he doesn't contribute as many assists. So it's what you like in a player. Sometimes you like the players that get you off the seat, like David Ginola. And I've heard Adrian say many a time that he didn't score enough goals. He was very flash player though, and very good to watch. And same with Decky. Decky's not an exciting so much player to watch, but he's a very effective player, and he's a team player, and he'll work hard, and he'll always track back and help Porro. Because without him, I think Porro would have been left a bit suspect on many occasions. And he's a fantastic ball carrier. He nurtures the ball very well. Very intelligent footballer. He just needs to be a bit more consistent. I agree with Kate on that one, 100%.
I mean, Adrian has a point, doesn't he? When his work rate. I mean, for example, you think about that game at Luton, where he absolutely ran himself into the ground till he had nothing left, and effectively became a second player. He was playing two games in one.
Yeah, he's like Marmite, isn't he, Decky? He's one of those players. He can frustrate you as well with the thought that he can't use the right foot, and he sort of checks back on his left, and then he'll look up, and if there's nothing on, but his little flicks here and his little flicks there, they always lead to something. And he done a magical ball against Brighton to let in Pape Sarr to make it 1-1. And me and Phil Panayer were celebrating that one. And then he got promptly taken off. So he's Marmite with the manager as well. And, Conte dropped him as well. So, he's got to prove himself this season. He's got to up his game even more. He has to up his game, score more, assist more. And then I think he'll get the critics off his back.
Yeah, Kev, Deji as a right-sided forward or central. I mean, I'll put this because we'll go around the panel on this. What worries me about Deji when he plays outside right is his first touch is always to stop the ball. Second touch is to move the ball inside. Third is usually to go backwards, and that's not really what we want from an AND system. If you see the training this week, where they've been knocking the ball into spaces to the byline for the wingers to knock the ball back for forwards running in, that's not really Deji's game, Kev.
Decky frustrates me when he's playing on the right for that exact reason, Ian. I'm finding it very hard to hear you, by the way, which is why I'm leaning close into the phone. But and me and my son Tom, who was on a couple of weeks ago, we've always said he's much better in the middle. he's got that skill set. He's got the touch, as he's shown, as Adrian said, with the flicks that he's done for the assists in the friendlies have been absolutely superb. And he runs his socks off. You can't fault him for effort at all. It's just that we just wish he would go down the line and cross the ball. And it's that frustrates me about him being on the right at the moment. And Johnson on the right is a much better option for me anyway. Johnson's putting the ball in now, and he's been crossing the ball. But Decky in the middle works, I think, and he could work off another. He could be two up front there, and he could be the one sitting behind the striker, or he could be the striker. I think he works better in the middle than he does on the right.
Sure. Jose, I mean, one thing we're going to need this season, if nothing else, is squad depth. Players that can come in and do a job rather than players that come in and get us knocked out of League Cups at Fulham with a whimper.
Yeah, look, my point of view on Decky, and I said this in a show the other day that I was doing, is that what goes unnoticed. Right, let's step back to when he came to the club. When he came to the club, we were on our knees, weren't we? We really were. We were awful. We were on our knees. They came in the January, him and Lolo, and he came into the team. So did Lolo. They rejuvenated our side. We ended up going and finishing fourth. Last season, he played, and if people remember rightly, he was the unsung hero for me last season up until January. So at the time that we had all our injuries and our suspensions and everything, the person that did the donkey work for us, if you like, and the shielding of the ball and the battering ram for the team was actually Decky. Now, that may not turn into loads of goals and assists, but he did a lot of team play for the team last year. Now, watching him, yes, he doesn't go outside a player, always cuts inside. However, when he plays centrally, like he has done previously to come into Tottenham, he can play an 8, false 9, and a 10 for you.
Yep.
And he looks a totally different player. I thought yesterday, when I saw the lineup yesterday, I thought to myself, oh, here we go. I thought to myself, Johnson and Decky in the same lineup. Who's playing on the right and who's going to play on the left? Anyway, he's put Son out there. Although there's a bit of fluidity because they seem to interchange as well. But he was a false 9 yesterday. And at the end of the day, squad depth is there that, we're after. We all believe that we're after a centre forward, but there's different ways to skin a cat. And one could be in games you need an out and out centre forward, and in other games if you need a false 9, then he's perfect to play. So yeah, he can be he provides squad depth because he can play in three different numbers. I won't for the right. He's not a right winger or a right forward, so to speak. Not the way that we play anyway.
Deji, there seems to be unanimity. Yes, we want Decky around, not Decky. We definitely keep Deji around. Want to keep Decky, but not as a right-sided forward.
Yeah, and first and foremost, I just want to big up to everyone in the chat who have obviously seen my YouTube clips of me when I was playing grassroots football, because there's been plenty of references about me and playing for Spurs, which is my dream, by the way, and I would play for our club for free. Look, quickly on Decky, I called out for him. I agree with all of your comments. Centrally, I thought he could be a replacement for Maddison. I was at the West Ham game when Postecoglou tried him out in that number 10 role. And there was a period where when Maddison was injured, he did that number 10. He did it quite well. As a false 9, it does make sense. It works. The other one that we've not mentioned is actually he could be a wing back. Yeah, I don't think he can play right wing, but because of his work rate, he can do that kind of defensive game and also maybe join the attack. Maybe that's how you bring the best out of Decky. It's just shifting his position. But definitely, really, for me, not on the wing. I think he's too good to be sold. I think he's a solid squad player. The only thing I would say is someone of his quality should have been producing bigger numbers. And I think the biggest issue with Decky is he's too bloody predictable. I just don't understand how in 2024 players could be so one-footed. And Decky is so one-footed that even me and my missus, we could stop him on the pitch. And that's the issue. If I can stop you, then there's a problem. And I think he just needs to change it up a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you to Milton. Just before we move on, gonna just a couple of people in the chat. So Milton, good evening. Darren, Deji doesn't play for Spurs. It's all in his head, unfortunately. But we're providing him with professional treatment and pills, and he should be all right in a week or two when the season starts. Three for all. Decky is unappreciated, solid and versatile. Yeah, still relatively young. And I think that's the point. I think he's still only 23. We forget. You think he's one of the veterans when we come on to some of the kids in a minute that I'm going to talk about. And Nita, I think I've said hello. Stuart, good evening. Yeah, that comment, I put up that before. Kula played a lot as a 10 at Juve. So good evening, Mark. We've said hello to Kate. Ronnie, I put that comment up earlier when Werner, Solomon, Rishi, they are a problem. Not Kulu. Who else have we got here? I've come back. I've said hello to Ash, Daniel Coys. Yeah, big up to you too, my friend. I've said hello to Mark Cousins, who's doing an amazing job in the back room there. So, right, well, we'll come on. Let's, I should have put this on ticker, not on banner. This is part of the learning curve. But those were the players, and Abor, it's of Abbott, came on at various points. And yeah, sorry about the spelling. This was me doing it in the garden with the sun and the. So apologies for the spelling. I will make sure that doesn't happen next time. Out of those substitutions, Jose, which players really caught your eye?
I'm just reading them all. All
that's okay.
all bar Solomon and Abbott. Everyone else caught my eye. Everyone else, and I mean everyone else. Everyone else did something, including Skip. Skip was available for the ball. Skip was making angles. I thought Skip had done really well yesterday. It's probably the most comfortable he's looked at playing in that position out of the 3 games he's played. Bergvall, Bergvall's quality, and you can see what we've got in Bergvall. Phillips, I think he made one tiny mistake yesterday, Phillips, but recovered from it and played well. Divine had some really, really good touches. He played out in the left of a free. He played out on the right of a free, and I thought he did quite well. Mikey Moore, there's nothing to be said. The boy's ready. The boy's ready. In my eyes, the boy's ready. If Rooney was ready at 16, this boy's ready. He plays in a different position, but for me, this boy's ready. Lancashire, I thought Lancashire did well. He got more or less the same amount of time that he had in the first 2 games. He wasn't brought in at the start of the second half, but he was brought in to replace someone towards the last 20 minutes of the game. And Donnelly, and I said this already, he could solve a problem. So where Jed Spence, and sorry, I forgot to include Spence, where Spence is playing so well, we were linked with Anderson, KWP, and people like that. Spence, the way he's playing, solves a problem, save money, put it towards another area of the pitch. Donnelly, it's not his natural position, but I think Donnelly in all 3 games has played really well and inverted. Yesterday, he was on the edge of their penalty box when he took that shot, and he's playing left back. So he's inverted, and he understands the system. It's interesting. It seems to be that all the youngsters have taken on board everything that they've been trained and coached, and seem to know the system a lot better than some of our first team players. In all honesty, and the other thing they got the hunger, right? So they want to impress. They're not carrying baggage. They're not battle scarred or anything. It's fresh to see. Do you know what I mean? And long may it continue. I'm going to say. But Spence also played well yesterday.
Jose, on that, I fully agree. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but John Williams of the Cheese Room, now it's Tottenham podcast, pointed out what I was going to mention: the fact that the second half, when these youngsters have come on, we've shown a lot more energy than we have in the first half when we had the old guard on the pitch.
Play the young ones, I say.
Adrian, while you've picked up the mantle, there's I know we have a batting order, but we can change the batting order.
Right.
I
just thought first half.
really well.
To me, half to me, I thought I picked out Gray, who I thought was good again. What I love his recoveries and all that. Bissouma, who's stepping up now, he's shown us a bit of what in them first 10 games now, and he's got competition, so he needs to step up. Kulu, obviously, and Porro picked out the first half. Like the second half, I mean, I've got notes here. Yeah, Spence again. I thought Spence, Alfie Devine, and Donnelly again. He curled one against the post, didn't he? Had another strike. I think the goal put away wasn't hard to say. And again, don't get me on Mikey Moore. I can eulogise about him all day long and twice on Sundays, right? So, even though Ange said he should have had a hat trick, missed a sitter. Harry missed that header over the bar. I don't know. It was easy to keep it down, I think. But what a player, and he is ready. So I mean, Spence will save us money, as they've said. Yeah, and Devine bossed that second half away at QPR, and a bit on Bergvall. I've been so impressed what I've seen. Against Hearts, he had 55 touches, more than the other player. He had more touches in the final third than anybody else. You watch him in these games, and he pops up everywhere. He's always available. He comes deep. He goes long. He goes out wide to the wings and all that. The kid has got such good vision, but one of the players I think has really got fantastic vision, because he's been converted from a 9, Donnelly, when he came from Northern Ireland, to a 10 for Wayne Burnett in the under-21s. But now he's finding himself at left back. I think Donnelly's got brilliant vision. He's got a killer forward defence splitting pass on him, So I'll stop there.
No, Deji, I don't know how familiar you are with the kids and how much you want them. Adrian came in, and I'm happy because I think he knows the kids and watches the kids more than any of us put together. But Jose makes a really good point, doesn't he? That these kids have embraced the coaching system. It's like the old saying, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. These aren't old dogs, so they're not new tricks. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think it's a testament also to what's going on in the Tottenham Academy nowadays. It's a requirement that you should be able to play multiple positions. When you're speaking to Archie Gray said that I can play anywhere apart from in goal, and that's what they're developing. And I know this because my son is 9 and he's going through similar things. We need boys who can play anywhere on the pitch, and we're seeing that with our young lads. All I would say is it's about bloody time, because I've been crying out I've been seeing Arsenal, I've been seeing Liverpool bring in Harvey Elliott's and and that ilk, and I was like, where's Spurs? Where's our, because we've got great academy, London, all these lads, and then we never see them come through. Well, thank goodness and thank God for Postecoglou, because I knew we had talent in the academy who just weren't getting a sniff. And to see our boys getting a sniff, for me, I would be happy if Postecoglou, because I've been banging on about we need some names. But if Mikey Moore is ready, and that could be our next Rooney, play the kids. We don't need to bring in players, play them. Or what's the point having an academy if you ain't going to bring them through anyway? And we remember Harry Kane. So for me, I think we need to have more faith in our youngsters. And that speaks to me as well. To see these lads stepping up and playing at the way they're playing really does excite me. There's only one question I would throw to the panel. No disrespect to the teams that we've played, but we've played Hearts, QPR, and Vissel, Kobi. They are minnows in my mind, where they give us a lot of time on the ball. Do we think that these lads can make the step up when we're playing the likes of Liverpool?
Deji, I'm going to come on to that.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask you not to answer it because.
So can I just go back on what? Let me just go back on what Deji just said. Deji, I understand what you're saying about the teams that we've played against, but this is all about pre-season. It's about people getting used to it and getting minutes in their legs. If we look at the teams that we've played, right, we kicked off against Hearts, right? Hearts kick off the Scottish Premiership against Rangers next Saturday, so they're 2 weeks ahead of us in pre-season, right? QPR kick off in 2 weeks' time, right? So they're a week ahead of us. Vissel, Kobi have played 24 games in a 38-game league season. So all three teams that we've played against should have had the legs to run us off the park.
Yeah.
You know, so at the end of the day, these 3 games up until now have been more about fitness requirement and about learning patterns of play and what we're coaching into them. So for me, regardless of who we're playing, I take it as a positive when I look at what stage these other teams are at. You know, but I do take on board what you say. They're not, you know, in a real world, if it was an even playing field, then they shouldn't be living with Tottenham at all, really.
Yeah.
But for me, it's for me. There's levels in the season, and the reason why we've played these is because of the legs that they should have on us.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. Kev, I'll go back. I've got some people in the chat, and then I'll come back to you. But AJ, good evening to you. Harmless Potatoes, always
Evening,
great
AJ.
to see you on the shows. Mark, we've got someone else. Yep, and good evening, Jose, Ellie, and Adrian. Oh, well, good evening to you too. And spot on, Jose. I don't know what comment that was to do.
It's just as I was talking just now.
Yeah. Okay. And then large up panel and get it right. So that's brought the chat, most of the chat up to date anyway. Kev, let's bring the second half substitutions. Any thoughts about those players and who did what?
I agree with a lot that others have said here. Donnelly really impressed me, playing out of position as he was, but he's got a great strike. And I mean that the save that the keeper pulled off from his volley, I was almost thinking Danny Rose for a second there as he hit that one. It was a great save by the keeper. And Devine, he's as someone else said, he ran the game the other day, and he's so skillful. And what I like about the second half and some of the players coming on is we are actually attacking the other team, rather than passing it around all the time. Someone is trying to force the play by going past them or playing the 1-2s and going in. And that's what we miss sometimes. Someone to actually run at a player and commit them, make the space elsewhere. And that was happening. I thought all the youngsters played well. And all the reserve keepers we've had in as well have all played pretty well. There's been some good saves when they've needed them. And Vicario coming back yesterday, but Austin coming in the second half. I think all the keepers have played well.
He really looks the part, Austin, as far as I can see as well.
I mean, they all look good. They all commanding, and playing out from the back. And as someone else said about Bergville, I mean, when he just picks up the ball anywhere, really, doesn't he, and runs. And he's great like that. And I think, it's something we've been missing a little bit in that respect. And Solomon, a little bit off it maybe, but he's coming back from a major injury. And in that respect, he's not quite as pacey as perhaps he was when he came in at the beginning of last season, when I thought he was going to frighten defences out of their wits when he first came on. But obviously he got that injury, which hasn't helped him.
I mean, if things stay the same, Ellie, Son will start wide left. You're picking the team for Leicester. You could almost pencil in now Sonny to play wide left. But the backup at the moment, it would appear to be Solomon and Werner, and neither of them are setting the heather on fire, as we say.
We're just praying that Sonny doesn't get injured, because those two, I've got a little bit more faith with Solomon, because he needs minutes under his belt, because the boy, he can play. He's just a bit rusty, and he's come back from a long-term injury, as you pointed out. And it was a really bad one, because the medical team got it all wrong, and then they misdiagnosed it, and he must have been frustrated. So he should be chomping at the bit to impress. But it's hard when you've just come back into the team, and you've got to get back into that Postecoglou mode of doing exactly what the manager wants. But one thing about him, he's a very diligent player. He wants to do well. You can see that he is trying. right? I saw him against QPR especially, and I saw that he was making some nice runs. In one aspect, he was found with a long ball, but what I was disappointed with, he tracked back rather than went for it, you know, because that comes with fitness and also having the legs to go forward, you know, carrying yourself, because you do run out of steam. So I want to see a fully fit Solomon. Werner, we know what we're going to get with Werner. We know. Everybody knows. There's nothing to be said on that one. But I just hope he has one of those seasons, you know, like a breakout season for Spurs and scores 30 goals. Now, that would be something to behold, wouldn't it? So I don't think it'll happen. But even if he scores 15 from the bench, that would be lovely. But I just can't see it. I can see him scoring 5 or 6, yeah. But we've got to have somebody come in, I think. We do need to address that on both wings, really, because both wings, we need to be scoring a lot more goals and creating a lot. And it's only Sonny who's got the most assists at the club. I think he's gone second in the league now for assists. So, yeah, I think there's more to be done in the transfer market to give us that cutting edge on the wing.
I'll come back to the transfer market when when we talk about the kids as well. But of those kids, Ellie, who caught your eye yesterday?
Oh, definitely Mikey Moore. I love him. I think he's such a lovely player. He's so exciting to watch, and he's full of beans, isn't he? He's bobbing here, bobbing there, and he's always wanting the ball. He wants it to feet. It sticks on his feet. It's like part of him. Like I said it in the last show, he's like Glenn Hoddle said, the ball has to be part of your body. And he really has got it, the lad. You know, and he's a very intelligent footballer as well. For a ripe old age, he's not even 17 yet, and he's doing this. So the last talent we had like that, he didn't play for Spurs, was Wayne Rooney. So I think if you're good enough, you're old enough. So throw him in the deep end, see what he can do. Give him his chance. What have we got to lose? You know, because we haven't got anything better. Just put it that way.
Well, I'm gonna put some questions to you all later on that, because there's some proper decisions got to be made. I think in the comments I'll come back, but someone said if you don't give them a chance, they'll leave, and I'll try and find that comment, because I think that's absolutely spot on. But I mean, I probably haven't got much to add to what the panel said, so I won't labour this. But I was impressed with Skip, and I was impressed with him at Hearts, and I was impressed with him at Loftus Road. Think he's done, playing out of position a bit as well. But yesterday, he almost started that playing centre half. Has given him some insights into how to play the game, and I suspect Archie Gray's benefited from that as well. Bergvall is going to be a player. You can just see he's a footballer, and he's strong as well. He's for an 18-year-old, he's got some developing to do. Spence, I am so pleased if he's come back. I've said this. I said it, one swallow doesn't make a summer, but we've got 3 swallows now, so maybe we're getting to a point where he genuinely believes. Solomon, I'm still out on Solomon. Phillips as well. Divine, I know I love my mate Brian Daigle on the show at some point. He is a massive Alfie Divine fan. Lancashire, very unlucky, got into some great position. Should have had a penalty. I think on VAR we'd have had a penalty and probably a red card for the shirt pull. And we might have had a red card and a penalty in a Premier League game for the handball. I think that's more arguable. But I like Lancashire, and I like Donnelly as well. Jamie Donnelly. I mean, they're playing in different positions, so they seem to have this flexibility to be able to play wherever they want. Sorry, Noble, right? But see, this is an interesting thing. We're going to come back to this as we talk about transfers. But J-Mac, welcome to the show. Bergvall is performing. I can see us knocking the Idzi interest. I hope not, because There's some chat. Evening, Rich. Oh, Soren, if you're blind. Oh, don't. No playing the man in this chat. Only play the ball. Only play the ball. Cockney John Vasco, pardon my manners. Good evening, rest of the panel. I think we've said hi to most there. And there's AJ, which we will come back to. We can't rely solely on the youngsters. We need to buy quality players and integrate the youngsters so that they can learn and evolve. Therein lies the dilemma, I guess. But we do have some transfer news. I'm not moving on too fast, I don't think. Win-Hyuk Yang, welcome to Tottenham. Does anybody? It's a pity Chang isn't here because I think he knows a bit more. Kev, do you know much about him? Kev, can you hear? Deji, do you know much about him?
Absolutely nothing. Yeah, I can hear. I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Do you know much about this boy from?
I know absolutely nothing about him apart from what I've seen on the YouTube clips just recently, and the fact that he's very young, and he looked very. There was a picture of him and Son posted up earlier today, and he looks very chunky. A bit shorter than Sonny at the moment, but then he's quite young, but he looks very chunky. He looks like he could develop.
He's been on the Irish Stew.
Jose, you know much about him?
Didn't know nothing about him until we've gone for him, and then when you go for a player, you start looking into him. Yeah. Yesterday, while we were playing, he was playing for Gwangkok FC, and he scored an absolute banger and got an assist in the game as well. And straight after my watch along, I brought the screen up and I shared his highlights of yesterday's game straight after my stream. So yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, you start looking at him once you've bought him. I didn't know nothing about him until we bought him. Then you start looking at the clips that are available. And yesterday I saw live clips that were coming through from the game that he was playing in, which is more or less the same time that we were playing. So he looks like a player. I mean, reading into him and watching him, he looks like a player that can go both ways, and he's 2-footed. So he can kick with his left and he can kick with his right, which to me, in Spain, it's a prerequisite that you kick with both feet. Sometimes we find players get paid 150 grand a week and they've only got 1 foot, and I'm just like, what? But yeah, it's a prerequisite to be able to be 2-footed, and he is 2-footed. And that's as much as I can tell you about him. Yeah.
I mean, I read, I've got some breaking news. This is from the Tottenham Express or the Spurs Express. AC Milan's new offer is 18 million euros and 2 million in bonuses for Emerson Royal. I'll come back to that, I think. Right, we'll carry on talking about, but that would appear to be very close now to being done, very close. Ellie, have you seen much of the boy?
What, Jed Spence?
No, Win-Hyuk Yang.
Yang. Oh, right. Yeah. No, not really. I would be lying, and I don't lie. I'm a Christian girl. Right. If you believe that, you'll believe anything. Right. No, I haven't seen a lot of him, but the clippets that I have seen, I like, because he's a very fast, pacey player. He's got good close control, can beat a player. Whether he can do it in the Premiership, that remains to be seen. Right? If he takes lead from Sonny, being that he's a fellow South Korean, and if he can be half as good as Sonny has given us, I like his name, Hyuk Yang. It's going to confuse a lot of us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. But I just feel, look, the jury's open. The jury's out, isn't it, for this young lad who's joined us. He's going to get a lot of haters already, but he's going to get a lot of people backing him, because we all want our players to do well at the end of the day. We're all Spurs diehards, and we got to get behind him and encourage him every little minute that he gets game time, because I can't see him as a starter, not yet anyway, unless Postecoglou thinks he's the done thing. So So when he does get his chance, I think we have to get behind the lad and cheer him on, you know, and give him encouragement, because there's nothing worse than coming into a club and, like, if you've had a stink your debut, for example, and then everybody gets on your back. So I wish him luck at Spurs. And I just want to see more of him. I'll be watching more clippets of him, but you can't always gauge that, because it's like anything. Even Emerson Royal looks good on his reels. So yeah, I'll just give him time, because it takes time to adjust to the Premiership.
Yeah.
And the way we're going to play football is going to be very fast paced, which I know he can cope with. So let's see how it goes. Okay.
I have gone and lost my picture completely. So if I have to log out, I will have to come back. But Adrian, do you know much about this lad?
Well, I've been posting videos of him. I watched 2 short videos, like 3 or 4 minute videos. Then I watched a 9-minute video. He's just under 5'7", right-footed, can play as left wing, right wing, or as a second striker. This kid is quick, right? And he can shoot with either foot. And what I like, he's brave in front of goal. His vision's good. He's got a good pass on him. So then I'll start to go back to have a look at another player we were looked at. And you consider this kid's coming for 4 million, right? We've just saved that on wages and all the players we've got rid of. So it's virtually cost us nothing. There's no risk. And I went back and looked at Desiree Doury. It was another very good player in France, but he's 19. And they're talking 40, 50, 60 million for this player, you know. So this is a no-brainer. You know, this kid is good. And I was listening to a guy called Jason Lee out in Korea, Japan, and he's following the K-League and the club he plays for. And when they've gone through all his stats across the board and skill set, this kid is more advanced than Son was at the same age. So, but it's all good. It's all good to hear all this, but he's got to do it. If the likes of Archimore and Bergvall look like they're ready to be part of our 18, which I was classed the Spurs as an 18, you know, not a first 11, then I don't think this kid doesn't arrive till January, Christmas time, because that's when the league finishes, right? So I can see him being integrated pretty quick into this squad.
The talk is that maybe he needs to fill out a bit. He's not quite another Brian Gill, but he needs a little bit more physicality in his game. Do you see anything in that, those of you that have seen him play?
I'm watching him currently.
Who are we talking about, Yang?
I think he's brilliant.
What about Jed Spence, Ellie?
Jed Spence, I like him. I like Jed Spence.
Sorry, I'm being wicked.
Go on, Dan.
I was just going to say, look, I don't know anything about him. I have seen some clips. And as much as I want to get excited, we just got to also remember that the Premier League is the toughest league in the world. I think he seemed a bit lightweight. The clip that I have, and maybe it was just the wrong clip, a lot of stray passes, falling on the ground. And when you're in the Premier League, he's going to be running at a lot quicker pace up against a lot of stronger defenders. But I think he's got potential, but I don't think he's someone that's going to hit the ground running. I think he's one for the future. We're going to need to give him time. Yeah.
I've got a feeling that might be right. I wonder if he'll come to us, and I wonder if he'll come to us in January and go out on loan, maybe into League One or somewhere like that, and test himself.
Even Germany, if he goes out to Dortmund or a Wolfsburg or a Leverkusen and do something there, then we've got a player. But I don't think he's ready for what he's about to walk into.
There's a lot of water going to pass under the bridge before we get round to January, and then you name after the January transfer window, you then have to name your 25-man squad again in case you put people in January. So it's a long way off, isn't it? It's a long way off. He's a cheap deal at 4 million. Let's face it. You'd rather lose 4 million than 60 million on belly, you know.
But if he comes in January, though, Adrian, he goes into your B list anyway because he's under 21. So it don't really matter about your 25-man squad because he'll go into the B list if he comes.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing is February we get the other player, Vuskovic.
Yeah.
And he played today, just now. The game's just finished. Westerlo beat Cercle Bruges 3-0, and he played today, made his appearance in the Belgian in that game, and he was up against a real big handful of a striker, and he done really well. Have you got it on your?
I've got funny enough. Yeah, I'm trying to stay one step ahead of the chat to bring in. I've got the stats.
I'll keep quiet.
We moved on to Vuskovic.
I'll keep quiet.
Played No, you're good. Played 90 minutes, 15 clearances, 8 headed clearances, 1 ball recovery, 4 out of 5 ground duels won, 4 out of 4 aerial duels won, 2 fouls won, no fouls committed, 4 passes into the final third, no times dispossessed. Comment superb on his Belgian league debut. There's some stats now. I haven't seen the game, but that's. I mean, he's another one is he still 17?
Yeah. So to put parity on this, he's Croatian, and he is deemed to be far more advanced than Gvardiol was at the same age. By the Croatians. The Croatians say that he's far more advanced than Gvardiol was at 17. And we've got to remember, Gvardiol was what, 20, 21 now?
Yeah.
Gvardiol's been playing first team football for a while now. And they're saying that he's far more superior at his age than what Gvardiol was then.
Can I ask any of you a question? Adrian, you may be the one that will understand this. Why? Because he's a Serbian or Croatian, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one. Anyway.
Croatian.
Is Croatian.
Yeah.
Why is he allowed to play in Belgium and he was playing in wherever he was, Romania or Bulgaria, wherever it was at the beginning of the season?
Because
he's not allowed to play in England.
Okay, when you're in the Polish league, these leagues are graded and you need a certain amount of points before you can come to this country. So the reason he's got a Westerlo is to get the points up so he can come. Also, like they've got to be 18 as well. Right, so he needs to get these like international points or whatever it is before he's allowed to come here, get his work permit or whatever it is, and settle in. So that's it. Can we ask Deji loads of questions because he's going at 9:30? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that. Yeah. Well, let's bring right. I'm going to ask a question. I'm not.
You've got a hot date, Deji.
To get some water. We're bringing Deji first. Here's a question.
Sorry. Yeah.
I want to ask. What is happening at our football club? The quote from the CEO or the president of Hyuk Yang's chairman, whatever he was today, said he turned down another top 6 English club who have won the championship recently, which suggests to me he turned down Manchester City to come to Spurs.
City and Chelsea.
Bergvall turned down Barcelona and nearly didn't even bother to go and see them because he was so impressed. Van der Ven turned down Bayern to come and play for Tottenham. But Deji, you start. What is happening at our club? Because it sounds too good to be true. And I'm here, by the way.
We got to just put some respect on our gaffer, Postecoglou, and I find it astonishing that people don't want to show Postecoglou any love. What Postecoglou does is, apart from getting to know the individual, because some of these crazy managers like Conte and Mourinho could give a damn about the person. They just want to have robots on the pitch. He's also said, I will guarantee you what another club won't do at your age. I will play you. And I believe that. He will play Bergvall. He will play these youngsters. And when you look at, and sometimes as a youngster, you look at the work that Postecoglou's done, especially in Australia. One thing he does do is he develops players. Sorry about that. He develops players, and if any players worth their weight in gold, he's the sort of coach that you want to be under if you want to get to the next level. So for me, it makes logical sense. They're smart kids, and he will play them. And for me, that's tick, 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 and tick. You want to take a gamble. Look at the players that have gone to the likes of Chelsea, the likes of Man City. Look at Calvin Phillips, big move to City, didn't get a sniff, and where's his career now? Players can't afford to do that. Remember, Michael Olise turned down City last season to stay at Crystal Palace. I'd rather be at Palace than be on the bench at City, and now he's gone to Bayern Munich because he knows he's going to get game time. So the kids have woken up, and I just love it. And I think at this level, and when you see other quality players coming in, you're looking at the future. We've probably got the best under 23s in the country. Looking at the player profile that we've got, you would be a dummy not to want to be part of that, because give Postecoglou time, Spurs could be dominating, and Kate will just be like, here he goes again. What is the truth? You've got to also look ahead and see the vision, and Postecoglou is a visionary, so I think that's what he's doing.
Yeah. I'm very excited going into the new season with these kids, and I think they will definitely save us a fortune in the transfer window. I also think they've given Postecoglou a nice headache, because I would definitely put Donnelly, Mikey Moore, and Alfie Devine in the 25 first team squad. The striker issue is a bit more complex. You're going to have to rely on Andrew and his coaches for what they've seen, because you really need to pick one of Alogi Velez, Will Lancashire, or Dane Scarlett. You need to keep one of those, and I don't know which one. I mean, people are raving about Lancashire because he scored 23 goals in 22 games for the under-21s last season. So I get that. But I've watched Scarlett play, and Elias as well before. And I've watched him, not this season, right before, in games, when I've gone to watch the under-21s play. And he's looked at 22 players on the field. He has stood out. The same as Skip did when he was in there. Harvey White did as well, and the same as Marcus Edward did going back. You know what I mean? But you sometimes you look on a pitch and you get one player that stands out head and shoulders. Don't underestimate Dane Scarlett. If he doesn't have a career at Spurs, he's going to have a career somewhere else. You know, Velez, I just want to see more of him. We paid 20 million for him. I just want to see more of him. I like the look of Lancashire as well, though. You know.
Yeah, got a sighting crop of players.
Yeah.
And,
what players would you keep, Deji, if you or add to the 25-man squad?
What players would I keep?
Well, would you add to the 25-man squad? The young uns. We know.
I think all of them deserve a bit of a shout. Mikey Moore, obviously, he needs to be in there. And Donnelly as well, I think he needs to be in there. Great player. Lancashire, I'm not so sure. I'd want to see a bit more of Lancashire. Who else is there from our lads? And then the rest will be in and around the squad, the Bergviles of this world and Jed Spencers. I expect them to be in and around the squad anyway. But those three, definitely. If Spurs want to be taken seriously, and for me, I've always been pushing for our lads, our academy lads. It's important that they can see a pathway into the first team. Then if we can get those three in, or those two at least, then I think it's a good look.
Let's talk about some outgoings, and then we talk about which of these kids are going to come through, really play for the first team, what we need to buy. Because the one thing we don't want to do, of course, is give Levy an excuse not to spend money that needs spending. But by the same token, if these kids are gonna develop their careers at Tottenham, they have to have pitch time. This one seems to be almost done, Kev. He's frozen on me again. I've got, actually, funny enough, I can't see Kev. Yeah, I'll be there. I'm having problems. Yeah, okay. No problem. We'll get you back, Kev. We'll get you back. Yeah, he's gone. Jose, Gilta, Girona, Spain. Thoughts?
Good move for him. They've qualified for the Champions League. They were a surprise package, but with being a surprise package, people have gone and raided Girona and bought a lot of the players that got them to third place. So Girona have got to go again. So it is a good move for him. I've seen a lot of people say, bloody hell, we've made him re-sign another contract, and we can't just get rid of the player. Tottenham are doing. Tottenham, if they were to sell the player now, right, they would have only got something like, I don't know, that people were offering like €6 million for him. The fact that they've now struck a deal with Girona, and Girona are happy to take him on loan and pay a deal for him next year, then it makes sense to give him a contract and then put a value on him for next year, which is €15 million. So that, you're not just giving the player away like we've done with some other players. So, yeah, it's a good move. I believe it's a good move for him. He's used to the Spanish league, and he'll be playing Champions League football. So he's not going to, no disrespect to Sevilla. Sevilla are not the team that they were before. So he's going to a team that are further up or have got more to play for next season. And also with Emerson, the Emerson deal reminds me of the deal that we had when we went for Porro. We went for Porro in the winter transfer window, and we know that the window's only open for 1 month, and that's January. And then we were arguing with Sporting Lisbon over a fee, and on the last day of the transfer window, we paid the fee that they wanted on the 1st of January.
Yeah.
So to me, this Emerson deal stinks the same way. At the end of the day, Emerson, thank you very much. Been a good servant for Tottenham. It just wasn't to be, and I wish you all the best in your career at Milan. But yeah, it's time just to get it done. Let him go.
Deji, I'm conscious of your
sorry about that.
Is there anything you want to add to that? 8 minutes. I mean, feel free to knock off. You don't have to do it to the
cheers.
When you...
Yeah, look, we need to get rid of these two. Gil's just not been good enough. I thought he was maybe a Luka Modric in disguise. Remember Luka Modric's first season at Spurs? He was lightweight, went into the gym, and the rest is happily ever after. It just hasn't quite worked out for Gil. Him in the gym just doesn't seem to work, and he doesn't like tuna. So, and if that's what it is, then we've got a problem. Emerson Royale, I agree. He's been a great servant. He's one of those utility players. When you've got injuries, can you bring someone in? It's not his fault that he was left on his own to play an inverted wing-back role against Mo Salah. Do you know what I mean? But it does. But worse things have happened. Yeah, he needs to go. There's quite a lot of players that need to go from our club. What I would like to see is get rid of all of the deadwood. I don't want to just see these two. We know what the deadwood is. I won't labour over it. I'm sure you guys have covered it. Get rid of them and bring in the quality that we need.
Well, okay, because I know I'm going to take it out of turn because I know you won't hear the end of the discussion. But I've got Gil and Emerson, and then Lo Celso and Reguilon. But what other deadwood are you thinking about?
Yeah, those players. I think for me, obviously we got rid of Højbjerg. I'm not so sure I want Skip in and around. I think he's taken up a space for me. I think Manor Solomon needs to go. I think, we need the likes of Eze or the Netos of this world. Solomon, I'm afraid, is not that. Timo Werner. I think the one that's going to be unpopular is that if Kulusevski can't get it up this season, then Kuli can go as well. And I know he's a bit of Marmite, but I just want players who can get in and actually do a job. And those people have provided me with just too much doubt. Those would be the players that I would look at. Maybe Kuli stays, but definitely Solomon gone. Definitely. Maybe even Richarlison, to be honest with you. Richarlison can go as well. Those sorts of players. Brennan Johnson, he's on my watch list. Him and Kulusevski are both on my watch list, but the others can go.
Okay. Ellie.
What about Ben Davis?
Ben Davis.
Kevin, are you there? Can you hear?
He's there, I think.
Oh, he's there. He's there in body, but the lights are on, but there's no one home. Yeah, he can
hear you.
Yeah.
Can you speak, Kevin?
Gil to Girona and Emerson to Milan. Good moves all round.
He's like this at work.
Yes, I'll do this. Yes, good move.
You like this at work? Yeah.
We'll get some money for him.
The worst of it is, I think he can hear us, but
You're muted, Kevin. You're muted.
With the likes of Solomon, I mean, he's not going nowhere till at least January. There'll be a lot of players with a sword of Damocles holding over. If they don't perform this season, Ange won't put up with them. So he's been ruthless in the past of the clubs he's been at. So Solomon, he's got this season to turn it around. He's not up to speed yet, but he did keep Mudryk out the Shakhtar Donetsk side. He did make 2 assists, show good vision in a 5-2 away at Burnley. He did show. I like that when I saw that, but it's only one game, and I only see him in a couple of cameos when he came on the right hand side. Good little dribble on that. Is he going to save us money? I don't know. But when players are out this long, again, the fan base they just throw them under the bus anyway. And to be honest, who has seen that much of him? I only watched videos of him when we first got him in off of Fulham when he was at Shakhtar and all that. So I mean, even I haven't watched too much of him. So he's not going anywhere. I mean, but the holes what we need to do is just get Eze in and striker, and we need a left back. We need a left back to cover for Davis going in a year, right? So I'll stop there.
Yeah, well, come on, Ellie. In terms then, Gil to Girona, Emerson to Milan. That's good business all round. Ellie,
what? Yeah. Can you say that again? You were breaking up there.
I said Gil to what I've got on the screen there. Gil to Girona and Emerson to Milan is good business all round.
Oh yeah, because they both. I mean, Emerson's giving it a good try. He's a trier, isn't he? Played £800,000 to £1 million to improve his play.
Yeah.
All for if he gets this move to Milan, that's a fabulous move for him. Yeah.
Ellie, do you think he should demand his money back?
You know what I mean? Yeah, it was like it wasn't right, was it? But Gil to Girona, I thought he would have gone to Spain rather than Italy. Right, but because I think his parents would want him home because he was a bit homesick when he first came, and he's never really done much in a Spurs shirt as such. There's one cameo performance that I thought he was pretty good in against Frankfurt when he won the penalty. He done a fantastic Ricky Villa dribble and got a penalty, but then Harry Kane skied it over the bar. So, but he's always flattered to deceive. He's a very intelligent footballer. He's got it, but he's got the skill, he's got the tenacity, he's got the movement, but he just hasn't got the physicality. Like I said, you can blow on him and he'll fall over. So he needed to work on that. And you know what? If he really wanted to carve a career out of at Spurs, he would have worked on it, and he didn't. So good luck to him in Girona if he gets that move. If not, to somewhere in Spain, I wish him well because he's a nice lad. Got a brilliant hairstyle as well. He could be in Oasis with that hairdo, couldn't he? Yeah.
That or the Beatles.
He's not for us. He's not good enough. He's not good enough because he's too lightweight.
And to be fair, sometimes I feel bad about saying these things about players. Sometimes certain players just suit certain leagues. His style of play is more on the continent. He's better for the Italian league. He's better for the Spanish league. But the Premier League is a bit more. It's a bit more brutal. It's a bit more of the Colosseum. You know what I mean? And so he's a nice player, and it just isn't for the Premier League. Isn't for him. I don't think he would do well in any club, even the Bournemouth. I just think he should be in Spain. Yeah.
It's like throwing in the gladiator days, it's like throwing him into the pen, right? And getting him out there, and he's going to fight the lions with a toothpick.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. He's just too lightweight and he doesn't suit. But in Spain, he did play very well. The team that he played for got relegated. I think they were called, I can't remember their name, but it was something with an E, I think. But and he was always on the fringe of making it, but not quite there because of his physicality. And it's a shame, really, because the boy is talented. He really is.
Yeah, I agree.
Lo Celso and Reguilon next, Ellie?
Lo Celso and Reguilon. Two players who like a little bit of a party, I know that. Right. And Lo Celso, right, under Pochettino for a little while, for about 15 to 20 games, he showed some promise. And you know he's talented. We know he's talented because we've seen him play for Argentina. But for Spurs, he just doesn't seem to be fit enough to make a mark in there at our club. You know, he gets there and then he gets injured, and he gets there again and he gets injured. But when I say he gets there, he's not quite been there like in the States where you think, bloody hell, we've got a decent player here. You know, he's always been, oh yeah, Lo Celso, not a bad player, but he's never consistently good, right? So yeah, he's another one that flattered to deceive, right? And I don't know, who's the other player? Did you say?
Reguilon.
Reguilon, yeah, Reguilon, yeah.
I'm going to pick up some of the chat because
Reguilon,
there was
not for me.
There was a comment. I've lost it about Lancashire, because we're going to talk about the kids as well. That's the one from JMac. This is an interesting one because clearly we're not going to be keeping 3 young forwards, and that's the comment from JMac. I don't know what anybody thinks of that. Kev, can you hear me? He keeps... I can't hear you. He's not mute. Yeah. Okay. Jose's not here either. So I can't even get him to fire you in the morning. But, you know, that's it. Sacked in the morning.
You're getting fired in the morning.
He can hear. He just can't speak.
Sacked in the morning.
Adrian, I'll bring you in again here then in the absence of Kev and Jose. Lancashire has been first cab at the rank in every game so far. Valith and Scarlett may have to go on loan again. Yeah, an interesting thought, but certainly Lancashire has been the first cab in the rank, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I've watched him for the under-21s and he's been very impressive. But he still needs to develop, and I think he's 19, and he also missed a lot of chances as well, and that gets overshadowed when you win the league and then you win the playoff final as well. Any sort of creaks in players' skill set or in their development are overlooked because you've won the competitions. You know, you're in. He still needs. I mean, he's a good finisher. And he needs, and you know, I'd put Donnelly in front of him personally, but you know, I mean, like, no, this is where the coaches have got to decide if they're going to keep one of the 3. Is it going to be Velez? Is it going to be Scarlett? Is it going to be Lancashire? All the fans would go for Lancashire now because he's front page news at the moment because of his goals, but he still needs to develop a bit, you know, and so we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who they're going to pick. They may send all 3 out because we don't know if we're getting a striker in. I still think, and Richarlison is staying. Then I still think one of them. I think. See, Donnelly's always going to be on the bench, and he can play as a striker or as a number 10 because he came as a striker from Northern Ireland. You know, so and Wayne Burnett converted him to a number 10. So, and now he's playing at left back. But it's Velez, Scarlett, or Lancashire. I don't know. I don't know who you'd pick out, really. If you're going on the goals, you pick Lancashire. But I think.
But Scarlett's barely had any minutes, has he? He got like 5.
No, but he scored whenever he seems to play for England. He scores for England, and don't forget, Scarlett's been on the bench under previous managers as well. So they obviously like him, and they see a lot in him.
Yeah,
they see a lot in him. So you'd think that Scarlett, to me, with a bit more experience, and he's older now. I think he's 20. He's 20 now. I would thought it's fit. You know, I'd be inclined to go with Scarlett and put Lancashire out on loan. And even Velez, I just want to see more of Velez. You know, I've watched the video. I can't. I mean, he's so good on the air. He's got a long stride on him. You know, and like when you see his gutsy performance away at Brighton, that took tenacity to get that goal. It wasn't a great goal, but he battled for it. And then at home in the league game, when he went down, he was injured and he didn't want to come off. And I thought that's what fans like. That's what we want to see. You know, so and he did score. I mean, they won 5-2 in that pre-season friendly in Japan before we played Vissel Kobi. There was a young game. Mikey Moore scored 2, Lancashire scored 2, and Elogi Velez got the other goal, right? So they won 5-2 and they got him goals. So I don't know. I know I'd definitely take 3 of those youngsters in my squad. I would definitely pick Donnelly, Mikey Moore, and Alfie Devine. I would take them with no qualms whatsoever. We know Berg.
Okay. I'm going to come back on the squad again.
Well, you can ask
Jose. Good evening, Lisa. Just going through some of the things in the chat, and there's Daniel as well. Not seen anything great from Scarlett in his loan spells to convince me he can make it in the first team, and don't try and come back with a Harry Kane strongs. I think Daniel, the point is that he scores regularly for England. But yeah, he couldn't get a game at Ipswich last season and what have you, and Portsmouth. The year before he struggled, but when he plays for England, he scores for fun. So that's I suppose I'm a bit behind with 1 or 2 of the comments. Right, Elliot, are you back? Well, Jose, you are back. We're just talking about Lancashire. I'm going to talk about the kids a bit more, but the forward line seems to be a problem. We've got 3 young forwards on the bench. One is Lancashire, who the comment I put up earlier. He seems to be the first cab at the rank, and that would be right. He's been the first substitute on. Valith didn't get a game yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. No, Valith didn't come on, and I don't know that Scarlett was even in the squad. So that would suggest that Lancashire is the first choice, but it's whether any of them, if not all of them, are going to. I can't see them all staying at the club basically come the start of the season. At least 1, maybe 2 will have to go out on loan. Kev, you might want to try and log out and log back in again, by the way.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
yes.
Whoa.
Brilliant.
Yeah, okay. Woo. Right. Jose, I've asked you the question and then I'll get Kevin. Whoa, brilliant.
Right, so to me, right, and I've answered this question before, but you've not asked me, so you've probably not heard my answer. Right, for me, yesterday, Lancashire got the same amount of time that he got in the first 2 warm-up games, albeit in the first 2 warm-up games he got 22 minutes and 21 minutes respectively, but he started the second half, and then they subbed him out for Velez and then subbed him out for Scarlett. Yesterday, Velez and Scarlett didn't get game time. However, my thoughts are, right, is that 2 of the 3 of them will go out on loan, and one will possibly stay with the first team squad, so we don't have the problems that we had last season when we had injuries. So for me, Lancashire will go out on loan. I think Lancashire will go out on loan. Normally, Tottenham, the way they want to do it is they want to do League 2, League 1, then Championship, depending where you are in the pecking order. I think Lancashire's probably good enough to go Championship, right? And to be given a good go at the Championship. I think Dane Scarlett is either good enough. Sorry, he's good enough, but he didn't show it last year. He didn't get given game time at Ipswich. He's probably good enough to go to a Championship or maybe even a lower league Premiership team on loan. I think out of the 3 of them, the one that stays is Velez, because Velez has got more first team experience than the other 2 players, because Velez played for the first team of his previous club out in Argentina. So he's got quite a bit of first team experience, and he is a Argentina under-21 international. Scarlett's not even an England under-21 international yet, and Lancashire's nowhere near that at the moment. So for me, it kind of makes sense that you keep Velez and let the other 2 go out on loan. But that's my opinion. I'm not stating any facts. That's just my opinion.
No. Kev, welcome back.
Thank you. I tend to agree with what Jose's just said, to be honest with you. When Vissel has come on, he's a unit, isn't it? I mean, he is a unit, and he's been, he's enthusiastic. He gets it, and as Adrian said, when he hurt his ankle in that home game, and couldn't really carry on, and then someone passed the ball straight to him when he was sort of wobbling around, not being able to do anything. That endears him to the fans. And I just don't think any of them really. Lancashire obviously hasn't broken through yet, but Vissel and Scarlett haven't really been given any game time at all anywhere. And Scarlett's been on the verge for a number of years now. I know he's very young, but is he going to break through? I don't know. And I think I would agree. I'd keep Vissel for this season and put the other two out on loan.
Yeah, difficult. Ellie, any thoughts? Who stays? Who goes?
I think we should keep two and have two on the fringe. Like, you can't put Mikey Moore out on loan because of his age, right? So he's going to be kept in the first team, hopefully. And I think the one who's going to go out on loan is Lancashire, because he needs game time and he's of the age where he needs to get minutes under his belt so he can develop his game even more. We know he can score in front of goal. The Leaf, I think he deserves a chance because we put him out on loan. It didn't quite work where he went to Sevilla. He got injured and, he needs game time, certainly. I don't think he'll be a starter. I think he'll be on the bench, and I think Scarlett deserves a chance as well because he's been at our club since he was 8 years old, right? And he's worked very hard on his physicality. He's becoming a proper man now. He's got one more year of growth because I believe you fellas grow until you're 21, so they say. They tell me. I won't go there on the rude part, right? But you know what I mean? He deserves a chance because he's shown a lot of promise, especially that goal against Shakhtar Donetsk. I mean, you don't score a goal like that if you haven't got something about you. And he's always performed brilliantly for England. And I don't care what anybody says. When you play international football, you're playing against the best 11 starters on every country, and they're pretty decent footballers at that age. It does. See, I think if you're old enough, you're good enough, and let's see what he can do now. He's got to step up. He's got to take his chance with both feet, and I hope he does because I love the boy. I've been watching him all throughout when I was playing for Spurs as well, and I've met him a few times as well, and I think he's a lovely lad, and he's Spurs through and through. And Steve Perryman said, you mustn't underestimate a player that's grown up with Tottenham, yeah, because he'll give his all. And I think this is his chance now, right? Because he got his breakthrough by making it on the bench at least. Now he's got to take the next step and make himself a first teamer, just like Harry Kane did, right? I know he's a different sort of player to Harry Kane, but if he develops in that same mould in front of goal and scores goals, I'll be the happiest woman on earth because I love the player and I just hope he proves a lot of the doubters wrong. Yeah.
Okay. So here's the question, probably before we go on to the closing section and the funny questions, if I can ask it that. What do we need coming in? Give kids a chance. This is a real difficulty now, I think, with the kids, the way they're performing. As someone said earlier in the chat, if you don't give them a chance, they'll move on. Someone also said in the chat, a comment I agree with, maybe the Edsy thing will go quiet. I mean, if you've got Donnelly, you've got Devine, you've got Moore that could all play a similar role. If you sign Edsy, what is he, about 26 or something? He's not there to, they're all going to be, he's not there. You're not going to pay 60 million for him to sit on the bench. So, Kev, you come in first if we've got you back. This is the dilemma now. We've got half a dozen really good kids. You've got to make the decision. You're Daniel Levy. You're Scott, what's his name? Scott Mann. You're Langer. You're Daniel Levy. You've got to make these, because these are the big calls. be your Ange Postecoglou. These are the big money calls.
To be honest with you, I don't know. I'd say I think we've got to be buying players that are going to go straight in, haven't we? I mean, that's what we've bought a lot of development players now, all the way through this bit. What we're looking for now is somebody who's going to just fit straight in and hopefully, if they're up front banging the goals, or be creative in the middle. Who? I don't know. I mean, I probably don't follow it as closely as a lot of people. And probably if Tom was here, he'd be bleating things in my ear about who it should be. But I watch Eze when watching Eze playing for England. Okay, he didn't get a lot of time, and then he did the odd flash here and there. But obviously, at the end of last season, he was excellent for Palace, wasn't he? And he was creating lots. And you think, okay, but where do you play him? And then what are you doing with Sonny? Sonny going back into central role? There are going to be people you're going to bring in, and they are going to sit on the bench because we've only got 11 bloody spaces out there. So everyone is going to start, are they? And it's a matter of will they come to us from a team where they're starting? And this has been mentioned before. Will they come to us from a team where they're starting to maybe sit on the bench here? Unless we can find someone who is going to really take it by the scruff of the neck and start. We might not buy anyone else this transfer window. I mean, I hope we do, because I think we need it. There we go. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, well, I'm not quite as bald as Levy, but there we
go. Yeah, good point.
I'm going to ask Jose because he's just put something in his mouth. So I'm going to ask you go on, tell us what your thoughts are on Einstein's theory of relativity, Jose. Just while your mouth's full there.
My mouth ain't full, mate. Ellie. It's all done. It's all done.
Go on, I'll let Ellie talk while you're eating. Ellie, these are the money shots now. These are the big money shots. We all agree we've got some phenomenal kids coming through, but we're short of real quality if we want to push on. So what do we do?
Yeah, I think the kids have got quality, but I think obviously experience is key here. We do need the experienced players to come in to add flavour to our team and to add that extra bit of knowledge. And they can teach the kids as well. They can nurture them and take them under their wing and make them even better players, because that's what training's for as well, so that you can develop these youngsters as well in training, not just on the first team coach and on the pitch. I think we need it because I don't think any club has won a Champions League or a Europa Cup or a league title or an FA Cup with all youngsters. They haven't. It hasn't been done. Even Manchester United's class of '99 had experience. So you do need it. And I just hope that we get the right players in the key positions that we need. Because I think that those wingers, the scoring wingers and a striker, I think they're key. And it would be nice to have another experienced midfielder to add to give competition to Maddison, well, in that number 10 role. If we're not going to play Kulu there, we play him as a false 9. We've got to put pressure on these players to make them perform week in, week out, so they don't think they're just the first on the team sheet.
Ellie, are you keeping McAllister?
I'll keep him for Lee Smithy Smith because I like Lee Smith. You know what? He's not as bad as people paint him, right? He isn't the done thing, but I think off the bench he can play well. I don't think he will start because he's not good enough to start. If we do start him, there's big trouble because he's going to get it. He's going to get it because he is like Marmite Richarlison. But he performed well last season in a lot of games. And one thing you can say about him, he's got heart and he wants to play for us. He's got a bit of shithousery, a bit of aggression that we lack, like Adrian's always saying. So he can play his part, but I don't think he's going to have a big part. I think he's going to have a bit part, you know, because he's not impressed enough to warrant a first team place.
Jose?
Right, for me, I said this before, Bergvall and Gray have come in to be first teamers. They've come in to shake up. They're coming to change the guard, right? I've got a feeling that if players don't leave this season, they'll certainly be going next season. And we will build on Bergvall and Gray and other players. When I hear people talk about you need people with experience, we've got bloody fucking World Cup winner people, you know, at centre back, a World Cup winner, Copa America winner. Is that not experience? Because I believe it is. You've got Pedro Porro. How many games has Pedro Porro played in top flight football? He has experience. Vicario's been a top flight player in Italy. He has experience. I look into the midfield. Basuma's got experience. I look into the midfield. Bentancur has got loads of experience. Lo Celso, whilst he's with the club, is a Copa America winner, has loads of experience. We got Heung-min Son, who's won the Asia Cup and has loads of experience. You know, Richarlison, Brazil's number 9, loads of experience. So we have a squad that have got experienced players. But whether people like the players that we've got or not is another matter, and it's a totally different argument. But we do have experienced players, right? However, it would be nice for a sprinkling of stardust to be brought into the club as well. But to me, and I've always maintained, and I'm quite calm about this at the moment, for me, we got to bring the right player in who's going to fit the way that Ange wants to play, and will have a bit like the kids, someone who's going to come in and hit the ground running and not have the baggage and stuff like that, and just, you know, get into that first 11. Who these players are, I don't know. I mean, if we were going to go down the route of youngsters, because it seems to be what Tottenham like to do, I've seen that Desiree Doué play for the Olympic team for France. He's about 6 foot tall, or 6'1". He is really tall for a winger, and he goes both ways. He goes in and out, left and right footed. Tottenham sniffed at him when he was at 30 million euros. However, now it looks like they're looking to 60 to 70 million euros for him. So he may be off the cards. Ryan Cherky also plays for the France Olympic team, plays for Lyon as well, plays in the 10 role. He looks a really good player. People have talked about his temperament and that. I don't know him that well, but looks like a really good player. We've been linked with 400 odd players since April. So it's like spraying your AK-47 and seeing which bullet hits someone. And say, told you we were getting that player. I told you we were getting that player. At the moment,
you've been watching Werner shoot, haven't you?
Yeah, that as well. At the moment, you've got
Sopranos.
Yeah, at the moment we're linked with forward-wise. I mean, you read one story. Adrian will know because he covers all of this in the Facebook group, which he does well at doing. But some of the ITKs will tell you we're down to 2 players now in forward positions, and it's Tony and Jimenez. I keep reading that from one area saying that they're the final 2. We're going to plump for one of them 2. Then you read other stories, and they're saying Gyökeres and Jonathan David. So I don't know if we're going to bring a forward, and if it is a forward, I don't know whether we're going to bring someone that's been mentioned or someone that we've not even heard of. Right? In midfield, the same midfielder comes up all the time. It's all Eze. Although Jacob Ramsey has had some traction recently, Gallagher's gone completely quiet.
Yeah.
So again, it's all these ITKs saying this, that, and the other about who we're getting. I don't know who we're going to end up buying. It would be nice to get some more players in. I feel, my personal opinion is if we still move on, Ian, you said that it was Hill and Emerson, right? If there's other players that do get moved on between now and the end of the transfer window, like if the bids come in for Saudi for Richarlison, and if any type of bids like that come in and we end up getting rid of other players like the Celso and players like that, then you're kind of caught in the rock and the hard place, because there might be players that you've got on your list to bring in, right? But then you've got these youngsters that have done so well for us in pre-season. So you're going to have to weigh that up, or Scott Munn and his team are going to have to weigh that up. But I feel that Tottenham, if someone did come in for Richarlison, right? I can see us getting an opportunistic buy other than those that are on our list already. They are saying, in the nose, they're saying that the agent for Chiesa is travelling to London tomorrow.
I saw that.
Yeah, and that Chiesa is meeting Thiago Motta in Italy tomorrow, but his agent's in London tomorrow.
Yeah,
I think things are going to develop quite quickly, Adrian, aren't they?
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
he has to make a diversion though to Cruise Hill.
The problem you got though as well is that Adrian, the problem that you got as well is that the Euros and the Copa America finished 2 weeks ago now. 2 weeks today, yeah.
Yeah.
Normally these players get 3 weeks off. I'd like to think that we've had conversations with the agents and stuff like that. So if you are going to end up going for a player this week before they come back next week because they've got another week off, then I'm hoping that we've had the conversations and deals could be struck quite quickly because next Saturday, if I'm right, it's Bayern Munich, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then after that, and
we've got Team K All Stars Wednesday, and then Saturday we play Bayern.
And then we fly back to play Bayern at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium the week after. So what we want to do, we want to be in a position where we either get these players integrated into the squad. We're not going to integrate them before the Bayern game in Korea because they're still on their 3 weeks. But you want to integrate them as soon as possible. And if anything, you want them to be integrated by the time we play Bayern the second time round.
Right, here's my take on it. When I look at the squad, I would love Eze. I would love him. But the kids have given Ange a headache there. Also, you've got Decky who can come in as a number 10 alongside Maddison. So where do our real priorities lie? If Richarlison stays, and I don't see him going because he said he'd stay in England, then we would need to get 2 strikers in unless we promote 2 of our youngsters, right? So I don't see Starling going. And I'm hoping, like everyone else does, I'm hoping that if he's put his psychological and injury problems behind him, that he got 11 goals last season when he went through that patch. Not enough, nowhere near enough. You know, he should be getting 15 to 20, right? Especially in an attack-minded system that we play. So when I look at the squad, we need a left back, right? And we need a right-sided winger. Even though we've got Sonny on the left and Werner, Mikey Moore can come in and play on the left. He can play on the right, but he mainly plays on the left for the under 21s anyway, right? No issue there. We need a striker. I think Jonathan David more fits the profile because of his age. He's 24, and he'd have a resale value if he did well. He's had 2 seasons with Lille. The season before I looked at him, I wasn't that impressed. Looked like a tapping merchant. He is quick. He is fast. And he can score goals. He's got the knack to score goals. So whether it's him, Jimenez or whatever, I mean, if there's talk about Neto and Chiesa, I get that. I'd rather go for Chiesa myself and have him play on the right. He can play on the right. You know, I'd have to play on the right. I would go for Chiesa before I even talked about Eze. If we don't get Eze and we finish that right wing. And we've got to get a striker in. So we've got a striker and right wing backup. I'd even take a left wing as the third player over getting Eze in. But if we got Eze in, I'd love it. I think he would be a marquee signing, but he's about the only one. I mean, unless you consider Chiesa a marquee signing as well. So we're not short of players who can play as a 10. You've got Donnelly, you've got Decky, you've got Maddison. Ange might be having second thoughts. And he's very hard to figure out, Ange. Any other manager we've got, if it was Jose or if it was Mourinho or whatever, you would know what position we want to fill. And he did come out in his last presser, didn't he? And he said, like, fans, be patient. We've had a list of targets. We've had our targets from the very beginning. So that worries me about Gallagher, right? We've had our targets from the very beginning. And we're going from But although he said that, I don't think Archie Gray, although I'm glad he's with us, was top of our priority list. But because Brentford moved and we had to move quickly, we moved quickly on the Gray situation. So I don't think he was, you know. So, but we moved quickly, and he's a steal as far as I'm concerned. He's an absolute steal. But I don't know about the Eze thing. I mean, like. Yeah, good. Dry roasted. That would be good call as a Tony and left back. We don't know about all the baggage, and if there's baggage still with Tony or not, or whether he's got an attitude problem or whatever. If he is, Ange won't go near him. Ange will not go near a player like that. He's just tried to turn around Jed Spence. He's not going to want to do it again, right? So my take on it, I could see us. I mean, Kevin alluded to the fact about whether we need an Eze type in, sort of, and I could see us like not going for him. I think these youngsters that have come through, they've probably got their early targets, but we were linked with Jimenez very early on, Gallagher very early on, and Tony very early on, right? We were linked with Neto with his injury problems. I'd want to see more goals from him personally. We need goals, but yeah, I mean, we don't know Ange's. We don't know, which is a good thing in a way. You know, we got this young Korean kid out of the blue. You know, we got Gray before we expected to get him. We were going to wait, I think, a bit longer. I don't know, Kevin. What do you think?
I think, yeah. I mean, yes. I think I agree with you. I would love, yes. But will we get him now? I don't know now. It's getting close now to the end, as you're saying, to integrate people in, to get him in pre-season. Now he's getting a bit tight, isn't it? But yeah, I don't know who we could get in either, apart from Eze, and in those sort of circumstances. I mean, that the young Korean is in the squad to play against us on Wednesday.
Yeah,
if you saw that, so we might even see him in that respect. But yeah, it's. I think we just got to watch this space, really, haven't we?
Yeah. I mean, let me give my take, because we've been running 2 hours, and I always think 2 hours is the most a show should run. Although I've been looking at the numbers, and we've been running sort of steady 30-something all evening. So look, thanks all of you for tuning in. But I mean, it's been fabulous. I'm sure a lot of your people, Jose, but we all support each other's channel. It's been fantastic. So Mark Cousins, big up, Mrs. Ian. You've obviously been spotted, man. They come in on the back. I mean, my view is, and I think I'll play devil's advocate here. If I'm Daniel Levy, and you're saying, I've got money. I'm saying I've got money for you, but I want the right players. And then you say, well, you want this, you want that, you want Edsy. And I'm saying, but hang on a minute. You've got Devine, you've got Donnelly, you've got Moore, you've got Bergvall. How many players? And if I pay £65 million for a player, I'm not paying £65 million player to make up the squad. And if I play him or you play him, where do these kids fit in that we've been developing through the ranks, or we've just bought as highly talented youngsters? I think it's a real dilemma. I think it's a massive dilemma. I do think if we could get, so I'm not 100% convinced that we need Edsy now. I think I'd rather give one of these kids a run, particularly as well as someone have said, if we can bring Kulu into that position as well. That really gives us a number of other options. However, I think we're really short up front. I would love to see Richarlison go to Saudi, and that we get 50-something million quid back or whatever, and then we buy two proper goal-scoring forwards, maybe Tony and Jonathan David, or Tony and somebody else. I know people talk about Tony's baggage, but we have got to find somebody. Got to find somebody that can consistently put the ball in the net. That's one of the areas where we were weak on. We missed too many chances. So I'd love to see two strikers. Then we could send two of the kids out on loan and keep one. And then we've got three centre forwards there. I'd love to see Chiesa, because if I pronounce that right, because he can play on either flank or through the middle. He's got pace, he's got skill, he can get round the back. Proper competition for Brennan Johnson. If he could play on the left, even better, because apart from Son, I think we're weak there, but we know Moore can play left or right. And if we've got Johnson and Chiesa, then we've got some proper competition. Plus, as I've been saying, I think Porro could do an amazing job there. But Look, I think we could talk this through for hours. I was going to talk about the ownership because there's talk about a minority, someone taking a minority stake. I'm not going to cover that tonight. Someone else. No. Otherwise, we're going to be another hour. I'm not doing another hour. Right. Adrian, we've only got one guest left.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I just wanted to come back.
So I'm going to close off with you. I'm going to let you before
I'll leave them with a fault then. Leave you with a fault. If you're talking 68 million for Eze, when you could get Jonathan David for 25, you could get Chiesa for 25, and bring an Alep back, say, for 25, you would fill in 3 positions for 1 player.
Yeah.
It's just food for thought. Just food for thought. I mean, like, to me, I would skip Eze. Like I say, I'd give the young kids a chance, and I'd have Decky playing there because I think Decky can do it. You know, but that's just me. Sorry, I interrupted you there, Ian.
No, you didn't. Sorry.
Hello?
Jose, did you want to speak there? Sorry.
Oh, in Burger Woman number 10. Yeah. He can play anywhere though, can't he?
Muted.
Sorry, I put my thumbs up because someone's put in the comments Jose for mayor, so I went like that.
Jose for mayor. Oh, that one. Okay. Yeah, mayor of where?
I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap.
Tell the councillor.
We've done 2 hours, and I think it's been a really good show. I hope you've all enjoyed it in the chat. Couple of questions for Kevin because we've all answered these ones. Kev, let's see if I can do this right because it's something Adrian's come up with for our guest list. So, your favourite ever Spurs player?
Hoddle.
That was an easy one.
I haven't done this. I haven't done this before.
You will do in a minute, Jose. All right.
Who hasn't done it? All right, Jose, you'll come on. Let's do it one at a time. If I didn't realise you hadn't done it. Your favourite ever Spurs player?
There's 2, and I'm not going to split them, and that's our dealers and Hoddle.
Okay. Go on, my sons.
Can't argue with that. You can be mayor. You can be mayor. Favourite ever Spurs victory?
Say that again.
Special for Spurs victory. You can only have one.
Victory, did you say? Sorry.
Yeah. Victory.
Oh, well, it's got to be the 81 Cup final replay. I would maybe go for Ajax as well, but no, I'll go for the Man City one.
Yeah. Okay. Jose?
Semi-final against the Gooners, 3-1, Gascoigne special.
Good call. Go on, Gaza.
You mentioned the Gooners. What's the name? So as you mentioned the Gooners, and if you do that on his channel, this happens.
Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered everywhere.
Get off my show, you. Who's controlling my buttons? Who's pressing my buttons?
Sorry about that, Ian.
Okay.
Your wife presses your buttons, Ian. You know it.
I only allow the right women to press my buttons early, you know.
Yes.
A special goal, Jose. Let's take you first.
Special goal?
Spurs goal, yeah.
I'm going to go with Gascoigne again against a team that's down the road. And I never said their name this time, Adrian.
No.
It was down the road. Exactly what I said in that sentence.
Arsenal get battered everywhere they go. Arsenal get battered everywhere they go.
Right, enough of that crap. Right, okay.
You want my goal?
Kevin, yeah.
I'll have big Chivs against Wolves in the UEFA Cup final.
Oh, what a great goal that was.
My
brother was at that one.
Sorry, we haven't got that one, thank God. Right, stadium experience. I don't know quite what that was, Adrian. You better tell them what they got to say here.
Well, this would be a bit long for now, as we're gonna, so it's just gonna be
let's leave that one.
Move that one, yeah.
How did you become a Spurs fan, Kev?
Family. My dad and his dad both grew up Hackney way, Bethnal Green Road. They used to cycle to the stadium. I was born in Palmer's Green. It's my closest club. I'm local. I'm now in Cheshunt, 5 minutes from the training stadium. You know, all my kids are Spurs fans, Spurs season ticket holders even. And I've got a newest Spurs fan who's just a week and 2 days old.
Oh,
Three months prematurely.
Bring him on.
Premature, but he's doing well.
Jose, how did you become a Spurs fan?
I grew up in a Chelsea manor.
Oh,
And
you mentioned the word.
Everyone supported Chelsea.
I was in that one as well.
It's like crackerjack.
And it was back in the day when obviously there was a lot of right-wing element at Chelsea.
Yeah.
There was a lot of right-wing element, full stop, in London back then with some of the clubs, and I wanted to be different. I didn't want to follow I didn't like what they stood for and what they were about in the 70s, and I used to go and watch everybody back then because it was brilliant. Back then on a Saturday, everyone kicked off at 3:00. There was no play on a Friday, play on a Sunday. Everyone kicked off at 3:00, and then you'd go and you pick. I'd go to QPR, I'd go watch Fulham. You just got on the train and went to watch. And I went to watch Tottenham, and Tottenham was the team for me. And also as well, what added it is being Spanish and having Argentinian family, cousins and stuff like that. The minute that we got Villa and Ricardo Villa and Osvaldo Ardiles, that was it, mate. I was sewn up for life.
Yes.
Okay. And the last question of the night to Kev is the empty trophy cabinet. So here is something in football, Spurs related or whatever you like, football related, that's so bad you want to stick in the empty Tottenham trophy cabinet and never be seen again.
You want to tell him who's in there? I'll tell you who's in there at the moment while you're thinking.
Okay.
I'll put Jason Cundy in there, right? Because he's always mouthing us off. The referee, Damas Kamena, who gave the handball decision against Spurs in the Champions League final, he's in there. Antonio Ruga's in there. Brad put him in there. Brad Matthews. Don't like him. The offside decision, the referee against Jan Vertonghen when they disallowed that goal, Spurs versus Sunderland, when Vertonghen was a yard inside her.
He was only 3 yards in his own half.
And then Matty Cash was put in there for that Bentancur tackle. I put gift vouchers in there because I said, how did we ever get conned into buying gift vouchers? Because you take perfectly good money you can spend anywhere. You spend it on a gift voucher, you can only spend it in one place. That's me adding a bit of humour. Then there was, Paul Merson because of his Spurs bias, and Mark Clattenburg for disallowing Pedro Mendes' goal against Man United.
So there you go, Kev. You've got to think of something original.
Something because I've got to put it in there.
I'll put Piers Morgan in there then.
Fair enough.
Yes.
No,
Well done.
Yeah.
I don't like him.
He's got the pen out. Piers Morgan.
Big
That's a really good
Gula.
short answer. Piers fucking Morgan. Yep. Jose, you close the show with your comment.
Darren Rentboy Bent.
Darren Bent. Oh yeah. Okay.
Darren Bent in the empty trophy cabinet.
Right.
Excellent choices, guys. If I might say so myself.
Done. Right.
Brilliant. So we've got Merson.
Mark says I put Levy in there. Mark, you have to wait to come on the
Jason
show.
Cundy and Darren Bent.
All right.
All of them.
We've been running 2.25 hours, so I think we'll call it a night there. I'll say thank you to all of you that are in the chat. There's been loads of you.
Big up, brilliant.
Thank you very, very much, because there's no point in doing this if there's not people listening and commenting. So thank you all so much for you. Kev, you don't have a show. Where can people find you? At least on Twitter or?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. Kev Sousa Clark, because I'm in a marching band and I play a sousaphone. So
Nice.
that's why the Sousas in there. But Kev Sousa Clark on Twitter.
Kev
So
Sousa
if Spurs need a band, we're the best band because we're local and we're world champions, and they never pick us.
I'm on Twitter, Kev. I'll add you. How do you spell Sousa Clark? I mean, Kev.
I'll let you drop it.
K-E-V.
I'll do it right now.
K-E-V.
Yeah.
S-O-U-S-A C-L-A-R-K.
The answer is no and no.
She's on the pool again.
Oh, Carol.
We always play you out with one particular thing, the victory against Liverpool at home. But we'll see you in the back room, guys. Anyway, have you done it?
Yeah. Just from that, Jose, that's a little plug for you.
Thank you. Yeah, if anyone wants to come over to El Tel Cockerel, all these people on the screen, I believe, are there already. But if anyone wants to come over,
guys, come on.
I'd do a bit over there. I've got some competitions running at the moment for the start of the season. I'm running a predictions league online, and I'm running Barclays Fantasy Premier League for the channel, and I'm also going to be doing the predictions that I did last year, where I do all the audits and I do all the handwritten and Excel spreadsheets. So I'll be doing that again this year. So yeah, if you're interested, come over and give it a look.
My granddad, Donna.
She's never said that to me, I'll be honest with you, but then you can understand why. Guys, our regulars, Adrian and Ellie, thank you.
We'll be on Tuesday.
Our shows are Tuesday.
And Fridays. We do Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays at 8 o'clock. So as people get used to the rhythm, we do Tuesdays because you're going to have Monday football this year, and we don't want to clash with that. We do Fridays because we'll be playing Europa League games on Thursdays. We can do post-match and that. And Ian will be doing all the Sundays, because he'll be doing previews or post-match when me and Ellie are coming back from the stadium, rushing back to give him our fan experience. Okay?
Yeah.
So all that's left for me to say is thank you again for being here, for tuning in, for your comments, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.